Could this be the next adpocalypse? If you've been paying attention over the last couple of weeks, you may have noticed that there have been some changes in the detailed targeting section of Meta Ads Manager. In their own words, Meta says that they have consolidated a lot of the detailed targeting interests within the audience selection menu. However, this is really just a sneaky way of saying that they've straight up removed a lot of the detailed targeting keywords that we use to target our music ads towards music fans. The keywords that we use to find the audience most likely to enjoy our music. And in the background, they've also been pushing their Advantage Plus audience selection harder and harder by hiding the more traditional manual method behind a whole bunch more garbage menus. So what does this mean for all of us? My name is Kyle, and I am the founder of Kyle the Ally, the friendly neighborhood music marketing service that you can trust to take your music promotion goals to the next level. And today I want to cover something that's very important, which is what the heck is going on with the audience selection in Meta Ads Manager. Let me show you guys an example of what I'm talking about. This is going to be most obvious if we're looking at a campaign that has been run in the past before these changes started rolling out. I started noticing this change probably sometime in August, so maybe that's about 4 or 5, 6 weeks ago over the summer. And this is a campaign that I made and published probably in June, so this was just before the change started. I'm in the ad set level of the setup for our conversion campaign that I ran for one of my clients, and you could see following the normal pattern of selecting detailed targeting interests starting with Spotify, and you hit this like and must also match condition, and then you add some more specific artists in the second box, and you kind of bundle them together to get a sizable audience somewhere in the 1 to 10 million listeners range. Now you'll notice that a couple of these audience interests have this like red exclamation point next to them. So if we hover over, we see this prompt right here. Choose an alternative. This detailed targeting option has been combined into folk music to publish your ad set, remove or replace with the alternative option. So basically what this means is that Meta has cleaned up this keyword. In other words, they've removed it. And in order for me to publish this ad and get it to resume running, I'm going to have to delete this and choose something else. This campaign had already run its course, so no spilled milk over this one. And it didn't pause the campaign while it was already running, but I couldn't publish any new ad sets or new campaigns using a keyword that they had already removed, which kind of stinks. And you'll see, like if we thumb through some of the other ad sets, so obviously these are, I would say, maybe smaller artists. Like let's go to this Fleet Foxes and Lumineers ad set. They're kind of arbitrary where they draw the line between what they've removed and what they've kept. So Fleet Foxes has been removed from their targeting selection, but interesting enough, Lumineers has not. And Fleet Foxes, for a lot of the folk artists that I work with, is like been a go-to keyword. So it's really a bummer to lose this one. If we keep going through, so yeah, both of these are gone. That stinks. Kings of Leon is gone. Hosier is not. I guess Hosier is big enough of a household name that they've held on to that one. Mumford & Sons actually is okay. And really the crux of this is they're trying to push you towards just using broader keyword interests. So if we look at the folk music ad set, that's really what they're trying to push us towards, is using larger genre keywords that are much broader. The downside is that they're a bit more diluted, but thankfully there's a handful of these larger audiences like Mumford & Sons that are still hanging on. And this is not constrained to one specific genre. We're seeing this across all types of music. So the last one I showed you was a folk song. Here's something different. So this is an EDM track, more specifically house music. You could see in our genre baskets, you can still target deep house and house music, but for some reason progressive house has been cleaned up. Swedish House Mafia, kind of a household name. They're very established. They've been around a long time. That specific artist interest is still available. Between Sophie Tucker and Diplo, looks like Sophie Tucker is gone, but Diplo is still safe to use. Looking at some of these guys, Deadmau5, Kashmir, and Chami are all gone. So this is like kind of the weird part of it is like, I feel like a lot of people who don't even listen to EDM know who Deadmau5 is. Like he's kind of a household name. But for some reason, Meta has chosen that he must get the axe, which goes to show just how arbitrary the point is where they've drawn this line. Very, very interesting. Oliver Heldens is gone. Martin Garrix, still good to use actually. Way to go, Martin. So let's say you're trying to make a new campaign from scratch. This is what it looks like. This is what we're up against. So once you make it all the way to the Advantage Plus audience section, that's what they're calling the detailed targeting options now. This is within the ad set level of the campaign setup. You're going to have to click this blue text that says switch to original audience options, and it's going to beg you, plead, implore, please use Advantage Plus. This will improve performance. Click use original audience, and you'll get something that kind of sort of looks like what we've been used to seeing all of the years in the past. So you have locations for the geographies, the countries that you want to target, age range, and then Advantage Plus detailed targeting plus. I don't know. That's what they decided to call it. So this is where you're going to put your more specific interests. So I would put something like Spotify in here. So that part hasn't changed. Click define further. And then if you're going to try any of those like more specific interests, like let's say we wanted to pull in Oliver Heldens, won't come up, but we'll try to suggest that you move to something less specific, like Electro House, for example. So that's, I guess, how Meta has classified Oliver Heldens' music. Bigger ones like Diplo, for example, will come up. And so in general, like I said, like there's no hard and fast rule with how they've decided who stays and who goes. Big household names, like if you're going to go for like the Beatles or something, they come up for sure. Pink Floyd, I don't know. Let's see. Pink Floyd does not come up anymore, so that's a crime, in my opinion. That is a real bummer. Or how about something like David Bowie? Just giving you guys ideas of like what are in different genres. Okay, so David Bowie does come up, so not all is lost in the world, but you'll see that all genres are affected by this just by the nature of how some genres are. Some will be harder hit than others because if you're in like a folk genre or like Americana or country or any of these that maybe have a little bit more of a niche following, you're going to be relying more heavily on these smaller artists, and you're going to have a harder time finding artists to target for your audience selection versus something like, let's say, like classic rock or even a lot of electronic music or pop music has a more mainstream recognition and more artists who are household names that maybe Meta hasn't actually cleaned up those keywords yet. What are my thoughts on the matter? Obviously, this stinks. Part of the whole appeal of the Meta advertising platform was just how specific you could get with your audience targeting and how granular the keywords are that are available to us. And that's what made it so powerful, is that you could set up these audiences to target the people who are most likely to enjoy your music in the first place. Like, for example, like you could get as specific as targeting people who like listening to Ed Sheeran on the third Tuesday of the month while eating a ham sandwich. A little bit of sarcasm there, but you get the point. You could get very specific, and for a lot of the more niche genres, you can get pretty specific with the types of music people listen to make sure your ad gets shown to the person who's most likely to react positively. And in my opinion, this move erodes the appeal of Meta ads over some of its competitors, namely I'm thinking of TikTok. And by the way, don't use that Advantage Plus like auto nonsense that they keep trying to push on us, because then you're giving away all of the control over your targeting and Meta's just going to choose whatever you want. You have to keep in mind that the type of advertising that you and I do for the music streaming promotion is very niche. It's a super small segment of Meta Ads Manager's business. Most commonly, people are using Ads Manager for like e-commerce if they're selling like products online. And all of their auto recommendations that come up in the Ads Manager are tailored with those guys in mind, who have very different advertising needs and advertising techniques than you and me. So that's why I find that Advantage Plus like auto suggestion that they try to push on us is like pretty much always detrimental to our music promotion, and we want to keep the power in our hands to select our own audiences for as long as they give it to us. And so what do we do about this? Unfortunately, we do have to play by Meta's rules. If they've taken away a keyword interest, there's no bringing it back. And as you saw, even ads that like use a keyword before that you want to republish that they removed, it has to get updated according to the recommendations. So like it or not, we have to play ball. But you have to remember that everybody is in the same boat now. So the average Joe who's got a couple $100s to spend on his independent marketing campaign is going to be playing by the same rules as some of these big time record labels that have much bigger budgets than you. Everybody's getting pushed into using more general keywords when it comes to the music targeting. And all of the guidelines that I've given you guys for how to brainstorm audiences. So starting with just generating a really long raw list of ideas and categorizing them and then passing them through Ads Manager to see which ones come up. That technique that I teach you guys is all still valid, and I encourage you guys to use it. But now that you're going to be basically running against a more selective filter, that is, less of your suggestions may come up as available in Ads Manager, you have to start with a much longer list of artist interests. So I might recommend starting with a list of 20 artist genres, music interests, maybe some lifestyle interests you could throw in there. Start with more, with the assumption that most of them will get weeded out. And if you end up with not enough at the end of that first round, think of more and keep iterating like that. And by the way, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, or you want to learn more about how to effectively choose an audience for your music promotion, you should check out my brand new music marketing course, which I just launched. It's got all of the information you could ever want. It's literally a brain dump of my 5 years of experience doing this professionally for my music and for other artists as well. In addition to audience selection, it's going to cover things like how to write good ad copy, how to make a good ad creative, decide your strategy with how you schedule your releases, how to actually build the campaign from scratch. It's all covered in my course. And by the end of the 6 hours worth of video content, you're going to know basically as much as I know about running a campaign, and it will bring you to the next level. So if you're interested in checking it out, the course is actually on a limited time introductory sale for fall of 2025. I'm selling it for a stupid price. I have no idea why I'm selling it for this price, but I don't know. Go get it at the discount before the price goes up, because I want as many people as possible to get their hands on it. So go to my website, kyletheally.com, check out the page for the course, and consider picking up a copy of it today. It'll really help me out, and I think you guys stand to learn a lot from what I have to say in there. So at the end of this all, there is hope. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. Some of you guys who have been doing the advertising for a while might remember the adpocalypse of 2021. That's when Apple rolled out iOS 14.5, which had all kinds of new restrictions on how third-party apps, in particular Facebook, could access user data, and Facebook uses that data to optimize its ads. And everyone was saying, oh, it's the end of Facebook advertising and your campaigns will never be effective again. A lot of people threw up their hands and walked away. I was actually just getting started in my career. I'd only really been doing it for a few months to a year at the time. And before there was even Kyle the Ally or this YouTube channel, I said to myself, see the opportunity in the obstacle. There's this new challenge ahead of us. Everybody's in the same boat. Everybody has to figure out how to deal with it. And some people will throw up their hands and walk away. But with that comes the opportunity that the people who persist and try to find a way around it are going to succeed, where the others have basically self-selected themselves and removed themselves from the competition. So I encourage you guys, don't become a victim of your circumstance. It's your time to rise to the challenge, and you can continue having success in spite of the new challenges that they've given us. Here at the Kyle the Ally agency, we've had the privilege of running some really successful campaigns in the last couple weeks in spite of this new rollout. And we've got a handful of campaigns that have been running in the 20 cents USD per conversion range. And we've even had one in the teens. And this is even considering the more restricted choices of audiences that we've had to use. We've still had success using the broader genre-defined buckets, or just pushing towards using some of these more household names. And so it is possible for you guys too. And if you want to learn the technique of how to achieve similar results, definitely subscribe to the channel, definitely check out my online course, and consider hiring me for a 1-hour consultation for help with your project. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you guys got something out of this, and I hope to see you in the next video. Later.